I'm really bad at speech. We'll do this.
No, I will turn it into something useful. Don't worry. Okay.
We had a ping pong unit in gym, and she's like, and I was doing really well. She's like, oh yeah, of course, because you're Asian. I'm like, all right, cool.
The gas station attendant would talk to everyone else who was like, everyone was white there except for me. And they talked to literally everyone. And then when it got to me, there's no, like, they did not say a word.
I'm what the kids like to call racially ambiguous. Just from, like, appearance alone, I think people get, like, I think they get other. That is the first thing. Brown people don't usually have as much trouble, like, seeing me, but white people definitely, that's one of the questions I get. What are you? And where are you from? And then when I say New York, then they usually give the follow-up, but where are you really from?
Being adopted is a big part of my identity. Because there's not many Indonesians in America. I think I've met a total of one, and he was an exchange student, and it made my year.
Because of the way people spoke about sexuality, if they ever did at all, whenever I would start to think, I would remember all the crushes I'd ever had on boys and just be like, oh, no, of course not. Never mind there being more than two genders, just the idea that I might not have to choose at all was, like, never even on my radar. It was like, I like boys, then this, whatever these feelings are, they can't be that. It must be something else.
As someone who's not conventionally attractive, as far as like people in power are, which are mostly males, when you don't follow the conventional attractiveness, then you really lose a sense of being like spoken to as a person and being like treated with respect.
I don't really identify as being like an American, I feel like. Nor do I really identify as being part of Indonesian culture, even though I feel I'm Indonesian. Alex and I have actually had this conversation where I feel like I don't really belong to any one culture.
My whole life I grew up as like the kid who was like too white for the black kids but too black for the white kids, so I kind of like sat in the middle.
I went to the cab the other day, and I'm like, okay, I'll get a cheeseburger or whatever. So the lady who was swiping my card at the counter was all like, oh yeah, you're getting a cheeseburger. I remember you get a cheeseburger all the time. And then I'm like thinking in my head, no, I don't actually. We don't all look the same. Thank you very much. Wrong agent.
If you haven't lived it, you don't know how restricting the language can be and how freeing it is when, like, the first time my mom started saying, someday if you get a boyfriend, and stopped and said, or a girlfriend. Or like when my friends and I were starting up a game of life and my friend held out the bag of like little pink and blue people to me and said, do you want a husband or a wife?
When I go to a classroom and I'm like the only minority in it, that's like the one where I'm, well, it makes me feel invisible, but also like very blatant like I stick out. It's a little bit of both.
I was never the one who needed all the attention or like getting in trouble and stuff like that. So like with like mental health issues, I felt like no one was really like taking me seriously because I was still like getting good grades and I was still coming to things on time and like doing way more than I should for things. Within my own family, I felt invisible.
There's like there's a smattering of Asian students, but really for the most part it's just me. I don't think, it doesn't really make me feel bad. You know, I'm a US citizen, I feel like I'm part of this country, so.
Unless it's like blatant racism, then I don't really feel invisible. That's because I won't let myself.
As far as society is concerned, people who do not have the power are still seen as not necessary. I have no identity. I'm an enigma.
Okay, that's fine.